There comes a moment in every person's life when you must decide where your attention will live, because wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. And wherever your energy flows, your life begins to change, or stay exactly the same. So let me ask you something powerful. How much of your life have you spent watching others instead of building yourself? We live in a world that constantly invites comparison. Someone else is doing better. Someone else is moving faster. Someone else seems happier, richer, stronger, more confident. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin measuring your worth by someone else's progress. But here's the truth: comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your confidence. And most importantly, it steals your focus. You were not born to live someone else's life. You were born with your own voice, your own timing, your own assignment. And the moment you shift your focus away from others and turn it inward, something extraordinary happens. You reconnect with your power. Focusing on yourself is not about ego. It's about alignment. It's about saying, my journey matters. When you focus on yourself, you stop asking, why them? And you start asking, what's possible for me? That question changes everything. You begin to listen to your inner voice instead of outside noise. You begin to make decisions that feel right instead of decisions that look right. You stop chasing approval and start building purpose. And let me tell you this clearly. No one else can do the inner work for you. No one else can believe for you. No one else can heal for you. No one else can step into your potential for you. That is your responsibility. And it is also your gift. The moment you stop focusing on what others are doing, you free yourself from distraction. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your confidence. You reclaim your future. Because success doesn't come from watching. It comes from committing, from showing up for yourself every single day. So today, choose yourself. Choose growth over gossip. Choose progress over comparison. Choose focus over fear. Your life is waiting for the moment you stop looking sideways and start looking within. And when you do, you won't just change your circumstances. You'll change who you believe you are. That is where real transformation begins. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others, your life begins to shift in powerful and unexpected ways. Comparison may seem harmless at first, but over time it quietly drains your confidence, your peace, and your sense of purpose. When you constantly measure your progress against someone else's success, you forget one important truth: that your journey is uniquely yours, with its own timing, lessons, and rewards. Every person you compare yourself to has a different background, different struggles, different opportunities, and a different path. You do not see their full story. You only see the highlight, the result, not the process. When you compare your beginning to someone else's middle, you place an unfair burden on your heart and mind. This habit slowly convinces you that you are behind, not good enough, or failing, even when you are actually growing. Comparison shifts your focus away from what truly matters, your own progress. Instead of asking, how far have I come? You start asking, why am I not like them? This question weakens your spirit and distracts you from the small wins that are shaping your future. Growth is not loud. It is often quiet, slow, and invisible in the beginning, but it is still real. When you stop comparing, you reclaim your energy. The mental space that was once occupied by jealousy, self-doubt, and insecurity becomes available for creativity, discipline, and self-belief. You begin to notice your strengths instead of obsessing over someone else's achievements. You realize that your pace is not a problem. It is part of your design. Comparison also steals joy. Even when you achieve something meaningful, comparison whispers, it's not enough, or someone else has done more. This prevents you from celebrating your victories and appreciating how far you have come. The truth is, self-focus is often misunderstood. Many people believe that focusing on yourself means ignoring others, becoming arrogant, or caring only about personal gain. In reality, true self-focus has nothing to do with ego, and everything to do with self-respect. It is the conscious decision to honor your needs, your values, your growth, and your well-being without apology or guilt. When you do not focus on yourself, you begin living life on autopilot. You react to other people's expectations, opinions, and demands instead of responding to your own inner voice. Slowly, your dreams get delayed, your boundaries disappear, and your energy is spent pleasing everyone except yourself. Over time, this creates exhaustion, resentment, and a deep sense of emptiness. Self-focus means recognizing that you are responsible for your own life. No one else can live it for you, and no one else should decide what matters most to you. When you respect yourself enough to focus on your growth, you send a powerful message to the world that your time, energy, and purpose are valuable. Focusing on yourself requires courage. It takes courage to say no when something does not align with your goals. It takes courage to step away from relationships, habits, or environments that drain you. It takes courage to choose growth over comfort. But every courageous choice you make strengthens your confidence and deepens your self-trust. Self-respect is built through daily decisions. It is built when you keep promises to yourself, when you invest in learning, when you take care of your mental and emotional health, and when you refuse to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Each time you choose yourself, you reinforce the belief that you matter. When you focus on yourself, you also become better for others. You show up more present, more grounded, and more authentic. You give from a place of abundance instead of obligation. You inspire others not through words, but through the example of someone who honors their own journey. There is nothing selfish about wanting a better life. There is nothing selfish about protecting your peace. There is nothing selfish about pursuing your potential. Self-focus is the foundation of self-love, and self-love is the foundation of a meaningful life. The moment you stop seeking external validation and start trusting your inner guidance, you gain clarity. You stop comparing paths and start walking your own with confidence. You realize that respecting yourself is not optional, it is essential. When you focus on yourself with intention and discipline, you create a life that feels aligned, empowered, and deeply fulfilling. One of the greatest traps people fall into is the need for validation. From a very young age, many of us are taught to look outside ourselves for approval, to seek praise, recognition, and acceptance in order to feel worthy. Over time, this habit becomes so normal that we rarely question it, yet it silently controls our decisions, our confidence, and our sense of self. The truth is simple but powerful. Your story does not need validation. Your dreams do not need permission. Your growth does not require applause. The moment you understand this, you reclaim your inner power and begin living from a place of authenticity rather than fear. When you depend on validation from others, you hand over control of your emotions. A compliment can lift you high, and a criticism can crush you. Your self-worth becomes unstable, constantly rising and falling based on other people's opinions. This is an exhausting way to live, because people's opinions change, and their understanding of your journey is always limited. No one else knows the sacrifices you have made, the battles you have fought in silence, or the strength it took just to keep going. They see results, not resilience. They see moments, not the mindset behind them. Expecting others to fully validate your journey is unrealistic, and waiting for that validation only delays your progress. When you stop seeking approval, something liberating happens. You begin to trust yourself. You make decisions based on alignment rather than applause. You choose paths that feel right for your soul, even if they do not make sense to everyone else. This is where true confidence is born, not from being liked, but from being honest with yourself. Self-validation does not mean ignoring feedback or believing you are perfect. It means recognizing your worth regardless of outcomes. It means celebrating effort, not just success. It means acknowledging growth, even when it is slow or invisible to others. Many people abandon their dreams because they do not receive immediate support. They interpret silence as failure and doubt as a sign to stop. But some of the most meaningful transformations happen without an audience. Growth is often quiet. Healing is often private. Becoming who you are meant to be does not require public approval. When you validate your own story, you become emotionally independent. You stop chasing attention and start building purpose. You no longer need to prove yourself to people who are not walking your path. Instead, you focus on becoming better than you were yesterday. Your story matters because you are living it. Your progress is real because you are making it. The strongest foundation you can build is one where your confidence comes from within. When you stop asking others to confirm your worth, you finally give yourself permission to fully step into your life with clarity, courage, and self-belief. Distraction is one of the most underestimated obstacles to personal growth and success. It does not always appear as laziness or lack of ambition. Often, it disguises itself as curiosity, concern, or even motivation, especially when your attention is constantly pulled toward what others are doing. Yet every distraction, no matter how small it seems, slowly delays the life you are meant to live. Choosing yourself means acknowledging that your needs matter. For many people, this is difficult because they have spent years prioritizing others, postponing dreams, and ignoring inner desires. Over time, this self-neglect becomes normal, and growth feels distant. But the truth is, transformation starts the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself. When you choose yourself, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the right time, the right mood, or the right approval. You understand that clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. Each step you take toward your goals builds momentum, and momentum creates confidence. This choice also requires responsibility. Choosing yourself means taking ownership of your habits, your mindset, and your direction. It means recognizing that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. Responsibility is empowering because it puts you back in control of your growth. Choosing yourself often feels uncomfortable at first. It may mean setting boundaries that others do not like. It may mean walking away from situations that feel familiar but no longer serve you. It may mean investing time, effort, or resources into your development when others do not understand. Discomfort is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It is a sign you are evolving. Growth requires consistency. Choosing yourself once is not enough. You must choose yourself daily. You choose yourself when you commit to learning instead of staying stuck. You choose yourself when you rest without guilt. You choose yourself when you keep going even when progress feels slow. As you continue choosing yourself, your identity begins to change. You no longer see yourself as someone who hopes for a better life, but as someone who is actively creating it. Your self-belief strengthens, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Choosing yourself also inspires others. Without saying a word, you give permission to those around you to do the same. Your growth becomes proof that transformation is possible, not through shortcuts, but through commitment and self-trust. The moment you choose yourself, you step into alignment with your potential. Growth stops being something you wait for and becomes something you live. When you honor your journey, invest in your development, and stay committed to your path, growth becomes inevitable. This is how lasting change begins, by choosing yourself again and again. In the end, the most powerful decision you will ever make is where you place your focus. When you stop comparing your journey to others, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and self-doubt. When you learn that focusing on yourself is an act of self-respect, not selfishness, you begin to honor your time, your energy, and your purpose. When you release the need for validation, you reclaim your confidence and start trusting your inner voice. When you eliminate distractions, you create space for clarity, discipline, and meaningful progress. And when you finally choose yourself, growth becomes inevitable. Your life is not meant to be lived on the sidelines, watching others succeed. It is meant to be built intentionally, step by step, with focus and commitment. Every day gives you a new opportunity to invest in yourself, to improve your mindset, and to move closer to the person you are capable of becoming. The moment you turn your attention inward and take responsibility for your growth, your future begins to change. Remember this: your power has always been within you. It has been waiting for your focus, your belief, and your courage. Stop looking at others for direction. Stop measuring your worth by external standards. Choose yourself, trust your journey, and stay focused. When you do, you will not only transform your life, you will inspire others, simply by becoming the best version of who you are meant to be.